Oakland is about movers and shakers and image makers, people who make a difference every day in ordinary ways and in spectacular ways. Our special guest today is Mr. Jesse Brooks. Did I say that correctly?
You did, Dr. Cannon.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Mr. Brooks works with the Post newspapers that are circulated all over the Bay Area, San Francisco. There's the Oakland. It started in Oakland, I believe, or Berkeley, if I remember correctly.
Right.
The Berkeley Post. Yes, it was in Berkeley many years ago. And then Oakland and San Francisco. And Mr. Brooks is going to tell us about the work that the Post newspaper is doing. Could you share with us some of the general things that are going on and some of the specific items that you wish to share today?
Sure. Well, the Post has always been a leader in our community, talking about things that matter to the African American community. And so I've been writing articles with the Post for over 4 years on a subject matter around HIV and AIDS in the African American community that no one else talks about, that no one else writes about. And since then, it's generated a lot of attention as far as giving people education and ways to get involved, and also knowledge that helps to reduce transmission rates in our community.
I understand you've been working with Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Barbara Lee.
I work a lot with Barbara Lee. We're
Yes.
really lucky to have her as
Yes.
a champion in Washington around this subject matter that, again, that no one wants to talk about.
And in Africa, I believe also, I believe Congresswoman Barbara Lee has taken a leadership.
She has, with the global funding of
Yes.
HIV and AIDS. I mean, she led Congress and even the president to do PEPFAR,
Yes.
which is the president's funding.
And then
globally.
Magic Johnson has a new TV station that he's putting out that is trying to show all kinds of things that will elevate the African American community.
Well, I have so much respect for Mr. Johnson just for standing up and saying that he's HIV positive.
Yes.
I think that is so important to fight against stigma that, you know, what does the face of HIV and AIDS look like? It looks like Magic Johnson. It looks like you. I'm in a documentary with a lady who is 65 years old and got HIV after she married a deacon. So it looks like you, it looks like me. I'm
Yes.
HIV positive. So I think it's important that people like Magic Johnson put a face to it and that
Yes.
anybody could have HIV.
Yes. Yeah, and I think he and his wife are dedicated to the African American community and elevating their aspirations.
Oh, totally.
Yes, totally.
Well, he's a positive figure, period.
Yes.
Even after being diagnosed with HIV and AIDS, he didn't let that stop him.
That's exactly
He went on to own movie theaters and become a businessman and give back to the community. Yeah.
Yes, and you have a book that I think you've been, people might be able to obtain.
Right. Well, again, like I said, I am HIV positive myself, which led me to become an HIV/AIDS activist. So I'm involved in the HIV community in a lot of ways. I write the columns for over 4 years in the Post. I'm also with a group called B.A.R.A.A.S.E.C, which is the Bay Area Regional African American HIV/AIDS State of Emergency Coalition. I know it's long. But what we do, we work on the politics of HIV and AIDS and to try to change policies in legislation and also local things that we do. So we put together a book called This Could Be Me, That Could Be Me. And so what That Could Be Me is that anybody could be HIV positive. And in this book is Barbara Lee, who did the foreword and talking about the work that she's done, but also people that aren't HIV positive. We're talking about a group of children that ride bikes in East Oakland, and one of their fathers died of AIDS. And so people talking about how HIV and AIDS have affected them. And it's really photo heavy, where, you know, it's a tabletop kind of book. You put it on your tabletop,
Yes.
you open it up, and people will want to talk about HIV and AIDS.
I think I saw Danny Glover's picture in there too.
Barbara Lee is in here.
Yes.
Danny Glover's picture is in here. I'm in here.
Oh, that's you.
That's me.
Yes.
And you can get it
How do we get it?
You can get it from Alan Temple's website, Alan Temple AIDS Ministries website. They're asking for a $10 donation, but again, it goes a long ways, again, that the first step to dealing with this disease is talking about it.
Okay.
So if you purchase this, put it on your coffee table, people will come visit you, open it up, and you'll have a conversation about HIV and AIDS.
That's Allen Temple Baptist Church in East Oakland.
Allen Temple Baptist Church in East Oakland, and I guess that would be allentemple.org.
.org.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's wonderful. Now you had some other information you wanted to share about what's going on with the AIDS work.
I did. Again, I'm with the group B.A.R.A.A.S.E.C, and so we are dealing with a 14-year state of emergency. That's how B.A.R.A.A.S.E.C came about, that in '98 they declared the first ever state of emergency in Alameda County around HIV and AIDS in African American community.
And I believe Congresswoman Barbara Lee brought that to the attention of everybody.
She did.
Yes.
Barbara Lee, and also Keith Carson, Supervisor Keith
Very
Carson
good.
was a champion. So we're, again, working with Supervisor Carson and Barbara Lee, and so this time we're working with the county medical officer, Dr. Mantu Davis, and we're doing trainings to really measure if we're any better off. So as we do actions in the community, to have some type of measurement to see what works and what doesn't work, and stop doing the things that doesn't work.
Yes. Many years ago at Merritt College, our nurse who worked there gave seminars for the students. And at that time, I think it was during the infancy days where it wasn't so prolific. So it seems as though it has been addressed in certain areas, but it has increased in other areas, and especially the African American community. And is that the only one where it has increased?
Well, so African American community, we're affected in a way because of our population in the United States is only 12%.
Yes.
And that actually mirrors the 12% in Alameda County. But each year, we represent over half of 56,000 HIV and AIDS transmissions.
Over one half of
the 56, so yes.
56,000.
Right, so we are highly represented more than any other race.
So the population of Alameda County is 56,000?
No, I'm sorry, that's a nationwide.
Oh,
56,000 transmissions every year.
right.
And each year, African Americans represent half of that. And we're talking about youth, and we're talking about women that are rising.
Nationwide.
African American women, African American youth make up that half nationwide.
And so Congresswoman Barbara Lee is addressing the nation as it relates to African Americans.
Well, we're lucky to have her here
Yes.
in our county, so she helps us in the county, but she addresses it nationally.
Nationally, and also in Africa, I believe she does too.
Right, working with the Black Caucus and working with PEPFAR and the president. And actually, President Obama is the first president to really address it, and he just did a national HIV/AIDS strategy.
Is that right?
In 2010.
Fantastic.
First time ever.
First time. Well, I'm so glad that you are keeping us posted. So how often is your paper or your column about this issue?
Well, I try, again, I've been writing for over 4 years each week. So the paper comes out each week, and I try to have one in there each week. Talking about HIV and AIDS. Again, my group, B.A.R.A.A.S.E.C.
And how can people hear about that?
They can contact me at Mr. Jesse Brooks, @gmail.com, or my phone number contact as well.
Okay, give us that again, please.
My phone number contact is 510-575-8245, or they can get me at my email, which is Mr. Mr. Jesse Brooks, @gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay, and then there was something else, the B.A.R.A.A.S.E.C. Could you tell us what those words again?
Bay Area Regional African American HIV/AIDS State of Emergency Coalition.
Once again, please.
The Bay Area Regional African American HIV and AIDS State of Emergency Coalition. And what that is a coalition of groups that are concerned about HIV/AIDS transmissions in the African American community. So it's open to the public, it's open to organizations that deal with HIV-positive people. So anybody is welcome.
And so that group was responsible for that publication?
That group that's one of the things that we worked on. We're part of the documentary represents the state of emergency as well.
The documentary called The End Game?
The End Game.
E-N-D.
E-N-D Game, Black HIV/AIDS in America.
How can persons get to see that particular?
Well, that was by Renata Simone through Frontline and through PBS. So they can go to PBS website and order The End Game.
The End Game.
HIV/AIDS.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll have to keep reading the Post newspaper because
Please.
You're keeping us informed.
Thank you, Dr. Cannon.
And thank you, Mr. Brooks. We appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonder and surprise.